Okay, number one was good. I think it was, in my opinion, a little average. I think everybody's had that one before. It just kind of tasted like the Velveeta and Rotel dip, but it was still good nonetheless. And number two was very surprising and delicious. I really liked the Asian spin. It was nice and sweet and salty and crisp, and the peanuts were delicious, and that was by far my favorite. And number three was interesting. I really couldn't taste a lot of sausage in it. I could just mainly taste the jalapeno and the bacon, and it was very smoky, but it was pretty good. And number four, it was okay. I didn't know if it was supposed to be a dip or some kind of like a cornbread casserole something. So I was a little confused on what it was supposed to be, but it was just okay. It seems like there were a lot of ingredients in there. And number five, I didn't get a lot of the sausage in that either. I tasted more just barbecue, and it was extremely salty. And number six was probably my least favorite. I just didn't like. I think there was some cinnamon in there or something, and it just didn't taste right. And the sausage was pretty overdone. So, thank you.
I think number one was kind of basically average. It was a good dip, but nothing really stood out for me. Number two was very different. I enjoyed the crunchiness of the product, and it had a very good flavor. Number three, the stuffed jalapeno, very similar. I did not taste a lot of sausage in it in the filling. The jalapeno kind of would override with the flavor of that. Number four, I enjoyed the casserole. I think it was I would think it was a casserole. It had the different ingredients were very good. I enjoyed the flavor. Number five was a little tough for me. The sausage was a little bit tough, but a good flavor, but the barbecue sauce kind of would override most of the sausage flavor. Number six, I thought was pretty good. It was different than what I expected. I thought it would be a little tough, but to me it really wasn't. The sausage was good quality, and the flavor was pleasing.
Okay, I agree. The dip was good, and what I did, I went if I thought I could cook it, it was average, and so I rated it against what I could cook, and so that was better than what I could cook. I gave it above average. The number two was excellent, very enjoyable. Number three, they've used the word surprising. Number three was surprising to me. I really enjoyed it, and it didn't look like I would that much. Number four, the casserole, I agree with him. It was the best on my plate. It was excellent, and I had trouble with the appearance. The appearance didn't do much for me, but when I started eating it, I wanted to go back and give it a higher appearance rating because it was so good. Five was disappointing. Six was better than I thought a meatball was going to be, and it was very tender. I enjoyed it.
I think number one, I agree with everyone else. It was very smooth, but it is typical. I think we made this at home, and I did enjoy it. I thought the taste, a little spicy, but not overpowering. As far as the lettuce wrap, it's probably my favorite of the evening out of the six. I was pleasantly surprised also with the variety of the mixture of the nuts and the vegetables, and then also the Asian spin. Number three was a little too smoky for me. I, too, did not taste the sausage. It was the bacon that stood out, and it was average. Number four, I felt like it was bland. I hate to use that term, but after the first three, I felt like it lacked a spice or any type of kick that would stand out. I thought the appearance was nice. The layers of the dish were very nice, but to me it lacked something with a little bit more spice. Number five, the appearance, I did like the appearance, but again, the barbecue stood out over the sausage taste. And then number 6, it was one of my least favorite also. The sausage was very smoky. The texture was a little bit tougher to me than the other dishes, but it was okay, but not my favorite.
I enjoyed number 1. I thought the dip had a very good taste, a good amount of spice to go along with the taste. Number 2, the lettuce wrap, I thought was excellent. Probably was my favorite on the plate. Had a good amount of sweet and sour taste to it. Number 3, the pepper, I thought was also very good. I enjoyed being able to taste the smoky flavor to it. Number 4, the casserole, I also thought was pretty average. Had a decent taste. Was a little bland. Nothing stood out for me. Number 5, I also thought I could taste too much of the sauce, and it was a little too sweet, and just didn't have a lot of taste outside of the sauce. And number 6, I also enjoyed that one. It had a good mixture of sweet and spicy taste to it.
I thought the dip was very creamy, and I liked the amount of sausage in it along with the tomato. It made it for an interesting texture, and it was above average, in my opinion, for a cheese dip with sausage in it. And then the number 2 was a lettuce wrap, and it was very different, very nice taste, nice texture. The sausage was cooked to perfection, and the mixture of the celery with the peanuts, and I think there were some water chestnuts in there, were just delicious. The number 3 was a little too spicy for me, just a little too hot. It was smoky. I liked the smoky part, but the jalapeno took over the sausage taste, and I couldn't really taste the sausage. Number 4 was the most appealing by eye, but then when you dug into it and ate it, it was very bland, not very exciting to the taste buds, and the textures were all one texture. So that, looked the best to me, and then I was a little bit disappointed in the flavor. Number 5 was good, but more sweet taste than sausage taste in it. And then finally, number 6 was a little bit on the dry side, and I couldn't discern the flavors, and the stuffing in the middle was just a little bit dry.
Our pan get really nice and hot. We have a fancy one here, but you can do this in any big pan, any big saucepan that you have at your house. What we've got is about half a pound of shrimp, thawed out. We got, this is deveined and peeled, and it's got the tails off as well, but you can do it any way you want. If you want to peel it after you cook it, that's fine too. So we've got all of our ingredients right here ready to go, because this happens really fast, all right? You can finish this in about 5 minutes, and all you need is 4 main ingredients. You've got your Papa Tony's barbecue shrimp mix, some cream, some butter, and some Worcestershire sauce. The first thing we're gonna do, put your Worcestershire sauce in here with your shrimp, kind of mix it up, get it nice and coated. Then you're gonna take your shrimp mix, sprinkle that over. Make sure your shrimp gets good and coated in there. And it looks like my pan is nice and hot now. So once everything gets really good and coated, this is the quick part, so it happens real fast. I'm gonna get my water ready here. And I need my tongs. Okay. Get it in there, get it. You want 1 layer. You want all the shrimp to be touching the pan. You want a lot of good surface area, and you can smell that. It smells so good right now. Get a little bit of water, probably about 3 tablespoons. And this shrimp takes about 30 to 45 seconds a side. It's really quick. So let it sit there for a minute. This shrimp mix is really great on any kind of seafood. If y'all like salmon, tilapia, catfish, scallops, it's great. I'm gonna go ahead and turn these. I'm gonna turn each one individually. I wanna make sure that I'm getting the shrimp nice and pink. The biggest thing is you don't wanna overcook shrimp. I think overcooked shrimp is just, it's not happy at all. So you wanna do this real nice and quick. Okay, the next thing I'm gonna do, right now, I already have my ingredients here ready because like I said, this is real quick. I've got half a stick of butter. Put the butter right in there. Paula Dean would be proud. And what we're gonna do is move our shrimp kind of up to the side and get this all nice and melted. And what this is creating is the sauce, and it's one of the best parts about this. We have some French bread over here, and the way they do it down in NOLA is you dip the sauce in there. You get your fingers all nice and messy, especially if you peel your shrimp like this. So you wanna get that butter nice and melted. And what I've done is I've taken the half a stick and I've cut it into little pads of butter, so that way it melts a little bit quicker. All right, now my butter's almost melted. I'm gonna push my shrimp back in. And for those of you who are just joining us, we're doing Papa Tony's barbecue shrimp. This is a New Orleans style barbecue shrimp. We've added our Worcestershire sauce, our Papa Tony's seasoning, and our butter. And the very last thing is a little bit of heavy cream. And don't skip on it. You have to do heavy cream. It's not the same without it. So pour that in there. Make your nice little sauce here. And that's it. Serve it up, you're done. 5 minutes, barbecue shrimp. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut this for y'all. We're gonna serve it right here. Come get some samples. We're selling our Papa Tony's barbecue shrimp here today. We're also selling our rub and our steak seasoning. So come and get some.
Oh, that's me! Oh! I didn't know I could do that. That's funny as hell. Can I do my thing now?
You can do your thing and we'll be rolling.
Right. Welcome. For those of you that have not been here before, you got to hear my story about why we do the shotgun. The idea is, first of all, I lost my grandfather that taught me how to barbecue. I lost him back in June, and his nickname was Shotgun because he always carried a shotgun. I loved him dearly, and he meant the world to me. So he taught me how to love barbecue, about people, about music, about brisket. He taught me everything I know. So I thought, what better way to tribute him than to do a shotgun in his honor on Friday night, because there's too many things going on Saturday. So this contest is a little special because we also a year ago lost a dear friend of the barbecue community, Tony Stone, who was also one of my mentors, and I love to talk to Tony all the time. He was a great guy. So tonight we're going to not only honor Shotgun, but we're going to honor Tony Stone with our shotgun shot tonight. Tonight we've made some apple pie for you, or you can drink whatever you want. So what we're going to do, we're going to do 2 toasts. We'll do the first one, the shotgun. We'll go 1, 2, 3, shotgun, do your toast. And then if you know the secret word, you can say the secret word. The second one we'll do is about Tony Stone. And I got to tell you a little bit about Tony. I knew Tony from several years ago from business. And then when I got into barbecue, we kind of reacquainted ourselves. And the first time I came to this contest, I parked right up here, and I said, Tony, where do I park my truck? He said, oh, just park it over here, DoRag, you'll be fine. So I parked my truck, and a few minutes later, he comes over and he said, hey, man, I need you to move your truck. I'm like, okay, no problem. So I said, where do I put it? He said, well, put it over here. So about an hour later, here comes Tony again. He goes, hey, DoRag, I need you to move your truck. Hell, where do I put it this time? He goes, put it over here. So I moved it. About 3 hours later, he comes back over just shaking his head. He goes, man, I need you to move your truck again. So ever since then, we had this big joke between us about, hey, move your truck. So when we say we'll do our shot for Tony Stone, and then after we do our shot, we'll say move your truck. So everybody got this? Yep. All right.
Got
There's no practicing. We're going live. All right. Everybody grab you something here. Whatever you want to drink. If you don't want to drink a libation, you can just get you some water or whatever. plenty to go around. Our lovely Lisa will be handing out parting gifts. So thank you all for being here. You know, this is really why we do this, because we love all you guys and we have a good time sharing these experiences with each other. It's our barbecue friends and our barbecue family, and it's good to see Mark and Karen and we have Frank and Dee Dee, New and Ron Harwell. It's good to have you back with us. So with that, 1, 2, 3, shotgun! 2, 3. Tony Stone! No.
Tony Stone?
Move your truck. We'll get better at that next year. All right, y'all got to leave now. I got to cook.
Mr. Klein.
That's hot.
Yeah. You probably almost need some tongs.
Yeah, I might have them tongs. Just got too hot. Let's get closer.
Which ones you want, Brent?
I'm moving these. Which one you want?
Those are prettier. Those 3 right there are prettier. This one's almost a little too dark. These 2 are almost too dark.
That's not good.
Okay, you're touching. Be careful. You're going to get barbecue everywhere.
This one. That don't you want to go with?
Take that out. Anita, we need a wet.
All right, number 1 was sweet. It was a little overcooked. The barbecue taste was very good. There was a slight smoke to it. Number 2 was a little undercooked. There was no smoke flavor to it. Could almost have been cooked on a grill. Number 3 was very juicy. Number 4 was the seasoning on the outside was very crusty. The meat itself was dry. Number 5, I thought my sample was okay. It was a little on the rubbery side on the skin. And the last one was very overcooked and practically fell apart.
Yes, sample number 1, the sauce was overwhelming. I couldn't really taste the meat or smoke. Sample number 2 was undercooked, as my partner over here said. I like number 3. It had looked good, had a good taste, good tenderness. Sample number 4, the spices were a bit overpowering. Sample number 5 was, I thought, a good piece of chicken as far as tenderness and taste. And sample number 6 was definitely overcooked. It was very mushy.
Yes, sample number 1, the sauce was way too sweet, too sticky. Number 2 was a little undercooked. Number 3 was quite good. The texture and sauce and everything was pretty much on. Number 4, the rub was just too much. Number 5 was a good piece of chicken. It had a good taste, good texture, good tenderness. And 6 is just way overcooked.
Okay, I liked number 1, and it looked pretty appealing, but it was burnt on the bottom. The second piece was not good. Sorry, it was not cooked. It was undercooked, right? Okay. The third one tasted good. Fourth one, yeah, the rub was different. It tasted good. My favorite one was, let's see, 5, but it had too much fat. I don't know if it's like part of the skin but the meat itself tasted very good, and the 6th one was too dry. Thank you.
Number 1 was sweet, and I like sweet, so it was good. I thought it had good tenderness, good appearance. Number 2 was undercooked. I thought number 3 was a little bit dry. 4, the seasoning was kind of overpowering on it. Number 5 was a good piece of chicken. I thought it had good tenderness, good appearance. It was my second favorite. And number 6 was kind of mushy to me.
No, they didn't. We knew it was coming. We had, last I seen radar was 90.
10.
Yeah.
That's what I was predicting yesterday at home.
They did pretty good.
So it's not going to mess you up over here too much?
I was thinking.
Look, could you work on not having rain in the next year? I mean, we're disappointed. I ain't no bloody rough.
We had last year too, if you remember, right?
Thinking about coming next year.
We'll just bump it up a week. It seems like I was raised on this weekend, so we'll do it on the Labor Day weekend.
All right, whatever.
Surprise everybody.
Don't show your phone there, Charlie. There you go.
What do you think, buddy?
My preference was for entry 3 and 5. Both of those were well cooked. Right amount of meat came off the bone with each bite, and they were seasoned well and had good flavor. Those were the 2 best, in my opinion.
First of all, I will say the appearance on all the boxes to me was excellent. They were super, super good. There was some creativity in one of the boxes in that the ribs were at a slant instead of all just in a row. That was unique and creative. I thought number 1 was a little too tough. It even looked dry to me. Number 2 was very salty for me. Number 3 was an excellent rib, I thought. It had a good flavor. It was cooked correctly, and it just came off the bone when you bit into it. Number 4 was tough. It was very dry, and it did not have much flavor to it. It may have something to do with the quality of the meat. I don't know, but it was not a super, super good rib. Could have been much better. And number 4 was tender and tasty. That also was an excellent, excellent rib. Came off the bone good, had a good flavor to the meat, a good flavor to the sauce, or the smoke flavor as well. The last one was way too spicy for my taste. I can still feel some of the taste in my mouth, and I'm glad it was the last one and not one of the others, because I have a chance to get rid of the taste of the spiciness. Thank you.
She just covered everything that can be covered, I believe, and I would agree with about 99% of what she said. Each one of them individually, she pretty well spelled it out, and I pretty well agreed with her all along.
Yeah, hi, I don't have much to add. Number 4 was undercooked, totally undercooked, and number 6 had so much sauce on it, I never even got one bite of meat. But number 3 and 4 were, to me, the best cuts of meat.
I agree with the previous comments. Number 1 was tough. Number 3 was the best of the 6. Number 5 on mine, the bone disintegrated. I don't know. I've never seen that before. And number 6 was spicy.
I think with most of the table, everything's pretty well the same. 5 was probably the toughest petrified rib we've had in a while. 6, whatever sauce they were using, and it was almost like they were using a hot sauce they had turned into pepper jelly. That's how hot it was. Just too jelly-like. It was just too thick to really get any kind of pork flavor, and you really lost that whole flavor overall. Just over-intensified and need to cut back a little or water it down.
All right, get our hands out of the way.
All 39.
Number 1 was a little bit bland. It was very tender. They were all very tender. Number 5 was my favorite. It was a little bit mushy, but it had absolutely wonderful flavor. And number 6 was a little bit grainy, like they used some sort of too much sugar or some sort of grainy something in the rub. The rest of them were mediocre, but not absolutely wonderful. But they were all cooked properly.
I thought number 1 had a really good flavor, but it was a little bit overdone. Found number 2 to be kind of dry and not as much flavor. Number 3 had a good taste, but I don't know, not a whole lot of, good texture rather, but not a lot of flavor. And number 4 was a little bit on the dry side. Number 5 was also my favorite. I thought it had good flavor and good moisture. And the final one, just nothing to brag about, nothing to write home.
Oh, just okay. It's a mixed bag. 1 and 2 had no flavor. The third one tasted like kerosene to me. And then my favorite was 5. To me, no question, 5 was the best, followed by 6.
Number 1 was dry, overcooked, a little bit on the sweet side. Number 2 had a good presentation. It had a tang to it. The bark was very flavorful, very good. Number 3 looked dry in the presentation. However, looks can be deceiving. It ended up being tender. Did have a little bit of too much salt to it though. Number 4, it had a good flavor. It was tender. One of my favorites, number 4. Number 5 had a very good presentation. The bark was very good. The meat was very tender. And number 6 was also very tender, good flavor, a little bit on the tangy side.
As far as appearance, I thought they all looked pretty good. Number 5 was my favorite, as was with others. I thought number 3 was a little salty. I thought number 4 also was a little dry. And like I said, number 5 is my favorite.
$127.
That's 6.
Okay.
I'm happy with it.
Number 1 I thought was dry. Number 2 was salty. Number 3 was just a little bland. 4, I'd sit there and eat the whole piece because it was actually good. And 5, I haven't decided. It wasn't my favorite. And 6 was good.
Thought number 1 was a little tough. Number 2 was tough, but it had a really nice, I thought it had a real nice barbecue taste to it, or beef taste to it. Number 3, I felt that the bark was a little bit salty. Other than that, it was nice and tender. Number 4 is very good. It has some sweetness to it, but you could still taste the beef. Number 5, I don't have any comment on it. And number 6, again, was a lot like number 4, but probably a little less sweet, but still nice and tender. Had good beef taste to it.
Yes, I thought the presentation on all 6 briskets were pretty good. All the barbecue here at Cookeville has been good this year that we've had on our table. Number 1, I think, was just a little dry. It had a good smoke ring in it. But still, and just a little bland, a little dry. Number 2 was just a little on the tough side and a little salty. And number 3 was maybe just a little tough too. Number 4 had a little sweeter taste to it, and it was pretty good brisket. Number 5 looked like it was just a little over smoked, or so, and it was fair. And same way with number 6, it was a little on the dry, but pretty good brisket.
I think all the teams here did a great job, especially considering the adverse weather conditions we had to deal with. Number 4 was my favorite, had a good balance of taste and a nice smoky flavor, but that little bit of glaze gave it a little sweetness. I think number 3 was my second favorite, maybe just a tad behind number 4. Number 1 was good, but a little dry. Number 2 was just tough, and I think 4 again was my very favorite.
I think they did a great job under the conditions they had today with this brisket. They had a real hard rain that affected it. Some of it was a little cold by the time it got here, but that was nobody's fault at all. Number 1 was passed the pull test. It was good, had a good flavor to it, but it was a little dry. Number 2 was a little tough. 3 was excellent in that it had a good beef flavor to it. Number 4 was good. It passed the pull test, had a lot of flavor to it. Number 5 was a little dry, and number 6 was a little dry but had a good flavor to it.